Do It All Dad Does London. I'm in London because my wife got tickets to see Bjork for her birthday. I wanted to see the Shrieking Seals personally. Just 1 in 5 people in Britain say the Bible is irrelevant to them. How hard is Ricky Gervais right now? Not even Steve Carell's latest film trailer on the telly can bring it down. Unplanned Parenthood. Let's talk about it. 3 direct hits later. I've aged well, I know, despite my wife bemoaning, I've sacrificed. She acts like an aspiring comedian in his late 20s, wanted kids ever. I can't clean and look after the kids at the same time. She says, I'll reply, I have no problem doing it, fake feminist. Then the wife will continue to drone on, but if I give him boob now, he'll be in the boob all night long. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, your boob all of a sudden has more important places to be. For 8 years, our bed has morphed into an open milk bar. Yet you don't hear me bitching about it. Did God bring a cat in our home to wean me off internet porn for good? Because nobody wants to whip it out again, drunk, on the opposite side of the couch of Pet Cemetery, thinking, cats are colorblind anyway. This should murky up its vision. Smoking weed became a mental strain once my daughter started asking super hard questions on it. Daddy, if God created the universe, who created God? And I replied, God went back in time in a time machine made by Elon Musk. And then my daughter, with the utmost disgust, says, real convincing, Dad. Thanks for making me an atheist at 4. Tempting line of attack against my mother-in-law. Next time she forces my kids to say grace in our home in New York. Rosa, Jews do grace in Hebrew. Also, care to tell God and my kids why you hit your daughter in Australia fondling avocados the size of Babar's nutsack? Some English blokes shitting their knickers. Random bloke at the pub says, the Turkish president says he'll send 3.6 million refugees to Europe if the EU doesn't provide aid to Turkey, mate. Mate replies, now that's using leverage. Did Trump slip the Turkish president a signed copy of The Art of the Deal or what? Can I get a holla for Turkish president bashing? Holla! I'm so sick of hearing, well, Michael Jackson isn't alive to defend himself. How would the king of pop defend himself against his Neverland accusers? Exactly. All the Beatles royalty points in the world can't buy me love. Can I get another holla for some holla? Did you know female dragonflies play dead to avoid sexual assault from male ones? Bill Cosby victims call this wishful thinking. Still too soon, stand up New York? The Ellen Show is looking for a digital marketing manager. What are the must-have requirements besides being pro-Bush? This is my impersonation of business merger talk between Dr. Dre and Eminem. Hey, Slim. That's the nickname for Eminem. Hey, Slim. This is Dr. Dre. Hey, Slim. Microsoft paid $4.5 billion for LinkedIn. Word! LinkedIn is lamer than ever, yo. Planned Parenthood has a sex ed book out. In case you're curious, one of the earlier chapters is, can you die from masturbating too much? My advice to my kids, it doesn't hurt trying. After you outgrow your sweaty sex period, which lasts 3 months max, unless you're married to Fergie and she decides to take stripper dance classes and erects a stripper pole in your man cave in your honor. Whenever I'm in public with my 3 kids without my wife, I hear, you've got your hands full. I'll say, if my two books, Doodle Dad Does Jokes and Controlling My Kids a Comedy, a Love Story, become bestsellers, resulting in my wife agreeing to an open marriage with Katy Perry, my hands would be full. Can I get another holla for some mountainous, scrumptious, boobulicious Katy Perry jokes? Holla! If Ronan Farrow is Frank Sinatra's son, then why hasn't he hired a hitman to knock Woody Allen on his ass yet? Stop calling nationalists a loaded word. The N-bomb is a loaded word. Antifa Lives Matter is an oxymoron. Trump is obsessed with Hillary because he's an illegitimate president. I thought Hillary Hammertime Cankles lost because she's an unhuggable cunt. If Hillary Hammertime Cankles runs for president again, what would her campaign slogan be? I eat fake news Indians for breakfast. Chelsea isn't ugly anymore. Deplorable boomer mom knows best. Hillary wants to retire Trump. Wasn't Hillary the out-of-touch, older-than-dirt windbag who couldn't even make it to Wisconsin to campaign for the founders of The Onion to push the fake news Russian collusion story on her behalf also? Why doesn't anyone call Hillary Hitler? She financed the fake news story about Russian collusion to cover up what an unhuggable cunt she is. She exposed Nikki Sixx's snowflake side. You want to talk monstrous? Also, just to be clear, resistor parents don't care about the rule of law. All they care about is getting Trump out of office so they can return to their smug, secure, superior selves because baby boomer arrogance never dies. Can I get a holla for preaching gospel a long time? Feel free to interject this joke with an applause break. Holla! Jumping the shark would be Hasbro renaming Lincoln Logs over cries of racism. The CEO of Hasbro proposes renaming them Obama Logs. A Trump supporter executive interjects, but in his youth, Obama studied the Quran under a tent in Kenya. Can I get another holla for a A-plus primo bash about our ex-president whose social security card is from Connecticut? I wish I was funny enough to make that up. Holla! When the Lakers lose to the Clippers in the playoffs this year, do you think Obama will be crushed, consoling himself with a bunch of almond joys in his man cave in Martha's Vineyard, hid behind the box of duct tape from Costco? Joan lives! The birth rate for New York is at an all-time low. Lena Dunham's encouraged frumpy look on Instagram isn't helping. Overweight hipsters are also pulling out prematurely from excessive meat sweats. How has my life changed since I became a father of three? I'm no longer friends with my dad on Facebook because since retiring to Scottsdale, Arizona, 3 grandchildren later, he doesn't do the cold anymore. Now, he just beats it to the Weather Channel. My dad's tennis instructor in Arizona claims my dad's forehand has never been stronger. Why isn't Terry Bradshaw not even in the conversation about best quarterbacks ever? Bradshaw never lost a Super Bowl like Montana. Second, Bradshaw won by airing it out. Fine. That much he shares in common with Brady. I'll give you that much. Who told Samuel L. Jackson it was cool to dress like Spike Lee's grandmother, who identifies as a jazz critic descendant of Sonny Rollins in Tyler Perry's new film, The Uppity Cunt? My 2-year-old son, Chosen Curls, was bound to, woo! Our grandma stops him at Target, proclaiming, "You're going to have 3 girlfriends to juggle when you get older." I reply, if James Woods had this voice, face, your estimates wouldn't be so conservative. Should stay-at-home moms get paid? I thought women love the divine gift of raising super sweet, kick-ass kids, planned or not, out of the wholeness of their hearts. I don't think stay-at-home dads should get paid, but I'm not a fake feminist either. Can I got a holla for that primo Fake feminist callback. Holla! Concerned text from ex-buds after seeing shades of me in the new Joker film. Warning, spoiler alerts abound. Killing on Kimmel should be enough. Still the only one laughing at your own jokes? You weren't beaten up at sleepaway camp in Kent, Connecticut for faking an ankle sprain to get out of running more suicide drills. So what's your excuse? So when the Joker suffocates his mother to death with a hospital pillow, did you feel estranged? Did you feel strangled by despair, knowing the Joker's mother thought less of her son's comedy ambitions than your mom does? Joker could have been Bruce Wayne, but you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth in Scarsdale, New York, Edgemont, New York to be exact, and got to take your SATs on time. So what's your excuse for taking so long to make it as a comedian already? Perfect wedding anniversary message in this age of Trump bad, me good. We both agree you're amazing, and that's the most important thing that matters. Thank you very much, London. You're welcome. This is the Do It All Dad Year podcast, dad-friendly entertainment for you and me. Controlling our kids' economy. Can make our kids great again. Audio versions of Do It All Dad Does Jokes and Controlling My Kids' Economy Love Story will be ready, available on Audible before the holiday shopping season. Also going to be meeting up with a famous horse trainer in New York when I get back from London. I'm going for London next week. My wife, I got in tickets to see Bjork. And when it's all said and done, I wanted to end that Do It All Dad Does London set list by giving homage to my lovely wife, because I'm not able to do this podcast. I'm not able to write these books without her bringing home the bacon and, her being the do-it-all, mom that she is. And, I was at the wine shop last night because I found out that I'm going to be getting another piece published in the Goodman Project. It's officially my last freebie. And I'm not going to blow my load, not going to get into it. I've done some jokes from it before, but it's my last freebie. And I feel really great about it. And I had sold, a couple of my books to this woman at the wine shop. And she said, the best thing I like about this book, this was Do It All Dad Does Jokes, was the dedication at the beginning in honor of my wife. So I believe that was meant to be. And, moving forward, so I mentioned the horse lady, going off on a couple of different tangents here, but I mentioned this before on the podcast, how I had written a play/TV pilot called Horsing Around with Hinduism. And this horse trading lady loves it. And when I get back from New York, we're going to decide what scene we're going to shoot together with her horse, who has been in Hollywood movies before. And I was told I wanted to do a talking horse story. So I wrote it, and she has already shared it with her friends in the biz. Have a dear friend of mine, Paul Stonick, who is loving it so far, and just another sign that the man has impeccable taste. So it's being received very well, and I'm pumped. And again, she said that she already has an actor friend that can play the voice of the horse. She's talking about finding another actor to play me, but I made it very clear it's not a stretch for Do It All Dad to play Do It All Dad. Outside of it being my life story and it being exaggerated, everything, I made the point to her that all the great personalities, Clint Eastwood, Mel Brooks, myself, play themselves, or some exaggerated version of it. So we're going to shoot a movie, call it a movie trailer. It's not if we wanted to mark as an independent film. Personally, I think that it works best as a TV pilot or a web series. And so I can't wait to shoot that pilot and to see what happens and have something else to sell, and to have someone else that believes in my talent and potential that I never knew more than like 2 months ago. So very excited for that development. And I'm mentioning all of this, and then also I'm just calling out a shot right now. I have good luck, very good fortune when I call it shots in this podcast. There is a magazine for all of my Jewish lover listeners that are out there, babyface Omar excluded, called Moment Magazine. It was founded by Eli Wiesel, and he wrote Night. He was a famous Holocaust survivor, won the Pulitzer Prize for Literature, and he founded this magazine. And I read a great article about Stephen Miller, the main speechwriter for Trump, and thank God, it was an article that wasn't biased, and it was a very thoughtful, meditative, non-hysterical assessment story about Stephen Miller. Thinking, thank you God that such a publication actually exists. So I just wrote a short story. I've not written a short story in a long time. Well, outside of course around Hinduism. So actually that wasn't too long ago. But it's called Gimel Be Good. And it's about this nice Jewish boy who loves to study Torah and follows God's commandments. But this is during the time when they had a new Greek ruler who took over, who took Hellenization to a ridiculous, super violent extreme, and we're calling this Greek ruler Pontificus the Potts. And so it's a story about this boy nicknamed Michael the Greek Kornbluth, who is a maestro at picking horses for the chariot races back in the day. And it's a story about how he invented the dreidel as a way to divert attention away from Torah studies, which was a crime that was punishable by death back in the day before the Maccabi Revolution. And I feel really great about this. I got some semi-sexual stuff in the beginning. It's just where I use the expression Persian porcupine puss. I don't really think it's that bad. I love this short story. It's around 1,400 words. So if it's, I pray to God that it could find a home in Moment Magazine, because I wouldn't have written it if I didn't get this really nice email back saying, hey, listen, because I sent them something prior. I sent them They're Not God, which got published in the Good Man Project. And apparently on the website, they normally don't accept unsolicited material. Yet I got this very involved email saying, well, listen, you can submit this and that. And then there's also this other piece that they're definitely going to publish. It's a column, only 400 words. It's called Beshert. And that means it's your love story. Can you tell us a love story is meant to be? And I talked about my daughter and her being the dream Jewish sister that I never had. And so I'm calling those two shots. They're both going to get published on Moment Magazine, and that's going to be great. And I'm going to London. I mentioned on the podcast before about connecting with Jim Jeffries' manager. I'm still waiting for him to get back to me. I sent an email yesterday saying that I'm going to be in London. I can only perform on the 18th after 9. We'll see if he can get me up. If he doesn't, it's not the end of the world. I'm not going to London to make this about me. It's my wife's birthday, and she deserves it. And my in-laws could be useful for a change. So, God willing, my daughter doesn't have any major panic attacks or sudden stomach inflammations. We need too much strawberries because she's bored to death hanging around my in-laws. So ideally that doesn't happen when we're all the way in freaking London, which isn't the equivalent of them being in Delaware and us being in New York and us being able to just drive only 4 hours there. So God, please make sure that my daughter doesn't get allergic to strawberries or my mother-in-law's boring one-note resistor twat tone. And please, Lord, give me the patience and resistance to not make any comments about my mother-in-law beating the shit out of my wife next time she decides to raise her voice around my kids saying, you can't play there! That's not the designated playroom! Even though it's not her home. So I just want to thank everyone on this podcast who's been listening, who's been sharing it, who's been talking about it. This has been an amazing journey. And I remember a long time ago, my father-in-law was saying, and this was 12 years ago when I was doing stand-up and living in Queens, and he said, someone found your voice. And I like to believe over the past 3 years, I have, and then some. Now, obviously, what I've realized that finding that voice hasn't really pleased so many people. Not everyone in the world who I thought were dear to my heart really wanted to hear my fucking voice. For example, I don't really think I'm being a paranoid Jew here when you hear comments such as from your father, "No one cares about your opinions." So I thought that was an uplifting moment, Pops. And Lord, I'm not disrespecting they father, they mother. Just sharing a story, okay? Just busting balls, adding some levity, all right? Not trying to arouse your anger, all right? So, no reason to be jealous. I'm only worshiping you. I love the fact that we have like God like big time attitude right now. This is what happens when you read like the kid's Bible, because you for some reason like you weren't even smoking weed as a kid, yet you have no recollection whatsoever of reading the Bible at all. And then you read these stories, you're like, wow, God really provided very specific instructions to show your loyalty and belief in Him. Boy, was He relentless. And I thought my quota for Robert Half for bringing in 6 candidates a day to interview was being excessively harsh and unrealistic. But so, and I listened to an old podcast from like this time last year, and I'm pretty sure it was called Really Funny and Judd Apatow, or something like that. And I noticed, I had no idea that I've been doing, can I get a holla for some holla, without that crackage involved. But it wasn't as so self-assured. So, my voice has definitely evolved. It's gotten stronger, and it's all thanks to you guys. And of course, the mighty Lord, not forgetting about you, but all of you guys that have been downloading and enjoying my comedy. And that's what it is. This has been a stand-up comedy podcast. So, it's been a form of therapy. It's been a form of, ego expansion. It's been a form of skill development. And I am very proud, immensely proud of all this work. And obviously I want to capitalize it. I want to make money off of it. Because, it's very strange when you've done, I don't even know what this is, like 150 episodes. And, a wife who's very busy. She doesn't have the time to listen to these podcasts. I mean, she could, but, I'm not going to blame her for it. And then, because she's very lovely. And the thing is that, like, my parents haven't listened to, like, anything. And my younger brother, maybe, like, a minute. So, that's very weird. So, but most people end up becoming comedians or writers and seeking love from strangers because, there was just like an absence, a void, before. And that's okay. Like Tony Robbins says, like you could play the victim, poor, pitiful me, or you could interpret life as, okay, well, these things happen for a reason, okay? And it's my job to make the most of it and to assert control of my destiny. And I believe that, me being shut out from corporate America, whether it be for age discrimination or my pro-Trumpian stances or my super direct, ultra-confident emails, cold emails in my honor, outside of all that, I believe that God wanted me to take it to the limit and to really see what I was made of. Because I remember like a long time ago when I lived in Pleasantville, and I don't know why all of a sudden I was feeling so freaking close to Pops to the point where I'd say, where I felt the need to be this vulnerable, or I felt the need to like get his opinion or approval. And I said, yeah, so I'm done with stand-up. I mean, his only response is, well, it was cute while it lasted. And the thing is that the reason why I've gravitated towards the stand-up form here is because of the immediate gratification. And listen, do-it-all dads, stay-at-home dads, need all the hits they can get. And also like when your wife works nights and she sleeps, and then she sleeps during the day, and you're looking after kids and blah blah blah, and you're doing everything else in the house. So it's really like more ideally suited for like power hours as far as like banging out jokes. And I've just been like so enraged, over this past 2 years. Not like left resistor rageful, but so angry that I got like the governor of New York and the mayor, and they've done nothing but shit on our president and and demean him and belittle all the great that he's done. And meanwhile, they're like giving like carte blanche to criminals and making it impossible to suspend, violent teenagers, and they're turning my city into a fucking violent shithole, and it pisses me off. Okay. Then I got like my great Aunt Marion, who is I got to overhear my brother's wedding sucking off babyface Omar, treating her like she's some sort of brainwashed, confused, PLO intern for fucking Roger Waters, and it's driving me nuts. It has driven me nuts, and so I've had to comment about it. I have to. I'm quoting the great Elie Wiesel. He goes, "The opposite of hate is indifference." Okay, and so I don't care. I don't give a flying fuck about exposing fake news friends in my past. I don't give a flying fuck about offending any of my brother's druggy friend at the wedding for making a alt-right joke in relation to his Canadian friend. He's never had a cold call a day in his life. Okay, I don't give a fuck. All right, let me make that very clear. I curse for emphasis. I don't care. That's the punk mantra. Thank you, Green Day. I don't care. All I care about is being able to make the most my comedic gifts of expression, being able to prove to my children that you can make your dreams come true, and that the most important thing that Metallica says is that you believe in yourself, because nothing else matters. Nothing else. And to quote the great Abraham Lincoln, that the key to succeeding in life, becoming a winner, who's a late bloomer like myself, good old Abe, was that you make the resolution to succeed no matter what. So thank you, Abraham Lincoln. Thank you, Green Day. Thank you, Anthony Bourdain. Thank you, Joan Rivers. Thank you, Charles Bukowski. Thank you, Rodney Dangerfield. Thank you, Mark Maron. Okay? These are all people where, they just weren't, selling ads for FX straight out of fucking UMass, and then parlaying that into Hulu, and then all of a sudden making $350,000, and, never really, having to, endure shit sandwiches for any prolonged period of time at all. So, and then, I just got that piece published, my clown origin story. It's very funny. It's not a downer at all. I mean, I talk about like Adam Sandler's handlers getting back to me and being like super nice, saying, "Oh, we're getting this Adam because it's unsolicited, blah blah blah." But it was like very nice. And to be honest, I always say one thing leads to another. I don't do that. I don't have that interaction. I don't reach out to Jim Jeffries' manager, because that's when I was like searching for representation, sending him links and all my books and everything. So anyway, my point being here, folks, is that if I have an important message outside of proving my funny Jew man machismo, is that if you want to do something in life, don't wait for other people's permission to do it. Okay? My kids, I call my children teenagers in love right now because they look so freaking old and they've grown up so fast. Okay? Like, I don't know where the time has gone. My daughter's 8. When she was 7, I used to call her 8'2", or when she was 7, I would call her 10 and 3 years. I might have screwed up that math because I'm a degenerate Jew that has to count on his fingers for simple arithmetic. But that's my message, folks. Okay? You want to do something in this world, and if that is like what you think about the majority of the time, and like this guy Roger Stone, he was like an advisor to Trump, and he says like revenge is a better driver than hate, is a better like motivator than love. I could see that. But to be honest, I'm not waking up in the morning thinking, well, my younger brother say, I can't wait to tell your 3 children when they get old, when they'll lose your fathers. I'm not thinking about that, okay? When I get up in the morning, I think I'm going to go downstairs, and I'm going to do my meditation, do my ohms, and then I'm going to give thanks and praises to God. Another quote by, what's his name? Elie Wiesel, Holocaust survivor, where he says that, if prayer is just a bunch of thank yous, like that reflects like goodwill, like That's enough. Okay? So, I'm not a greedy heap over here, people. Okay? I'll ask God in the morning. I'm like, God, just please, at some point, you're obviously in no rush, but I would like the opportunity to make money off this creative overflowing of A plus Gemery on Twitter and my books that I'm tired of just writing off to my tax accountant as a hefty charitable donation. So, yeah, if you want something in this world, don't ask for permission. Just do it because the time goes by very fast, and the more you do something, the better you're gonna get it, and the better you're gonna get at it, and the more emboldened you're gonna become. And so, this is gonna be my official last podcast episode for the Do It All Dad Year podcast. I owe it to my wife and my family to find some steady work when I get back from London. And, by that point, my books will be converted to audio, and I'll be meeting up with my horse lady, and we'll have a lot of balls in the air. But, it's time to, and it's not as if I haven't been trying, folks, but, it's also important because I know how it is. I mean, listen, I've worked in corporate America. They don't want to hear about your side hustles. They just want to know that like you're there to please them, and that's fine. I get it. I'm grown up. I understand how that works. But I don't. I'm rereading the Bible, and this is one line where they talk about how where like the Jews or this is Moses actually. He goes like, isn't it better? Like he's talking to God. And he says like to God like, isn't it better for us to like just serve our Egyptian masters instead of just being like lost, rudderless, out here in the wilderness without a pot to piss in, Lord. And how would I answer that question? No, it's not better to serve your Egyptian slave masters one bit, especially when you got, three bundles of joy at home and who love your presence here and who respect your work and show off your books and really want the audio ones to sell and really want the most for their aspirational do it all dad. And so I just want to give a shout out to my children. I was giving all this effusive praise to my wife, but again, I don't become a father. I obviously don't launch a podcast called the Do It All Dad Year podcast. And my daughter's has always been my biggest fan, best comedy partner I never had. Art Show USA. I'm quoting the kid. He goes, "Daddy, be funnier than this last year. Be funnier than Weird Al, or I'm killing you with the sharpest knife for real." And then we got my lucky number 3. Chosen Curls is bound to woo. Headbangers Ball. Jabba Hot Hike in the house. Whose fascination, obsession with Star Wars has reached a ridiculous new heights, and he's great. And I don't even know. I'm not even like emotionally prepared for how much I'm gonna miss these kids once I'm out and about. Like just to be clear, as far as like me getting a job in the city and commuting and or whether it's in freaking Connecticut, this is not a matter of like running away from my children because like I'm losing my mind. All right, like I love all my time with my children. I love being able to control the work I want to do. I love being able to run the treadmill downstairs whenever I want, and it's great. It's been all great, but I don't, and I'm not like getting a job. Then in some cases, I understand can be like less than ideal. Like let's say I get a job, God wants me to be a VP of talent acquisition in Manhattan for 6 figures. I'm obviously not this obsessed loner who's going to freaking turn it down, okay? And I'll make the most of it. And I've decided that this year is, I really loved writing this story. Gimel will be good, and the next story I'm going to write, because I met this man on Metro North, and we talked about about like writing a book for to teach like financial literacy. But like, what does that mean? That's boring, right? And using like comedy as a tool, and so fundraising, and that's going to be like the focal point. I'm calling it Pitch Woman of the Year because I always talk about how like my daughter could like sell Girl Scout cookies to an anorexic Calista Flockhart convention. Yeah, and so boy was that reference dated. But I thought it'd be really great to like tell a story because so like my daughter, she has this idea for selling her own line of like slime girl dolls and that are scented. And I thought it'd be really cool if you could have like a story that shows like how the VC super angel fundraising actually works, but like in a fictitious tale where I could put a spotlight on my daughter's voice, who's my funnier, sweeter twin, and I think that would just be like a great story where, because especially with colleges these days that are so hysterical and them just like bashing America, saying how awful it is. And well, it's not so awful when you could come up with a really great idea and get people to invest in it, and you can control, your own life and your own lifestyle and not have to be exploited for all your fucking worth and then be fired because, you don't bring any candidates in August by the man Robert Half. So I don't see anything so wrong with that. Harvard University, Berkeley. So that's going to be the next project, Pitch Woman of the Year, and we'll write some chapters, and then we'll send them out to agents, and we'll see what happens. So, but that's going to be the focal point. I mean, like, if I'm being brutally honest with myself, like, do I really see myself caring so much about making strangers laugh for a living, where I'm going to freeze my balls off and go to Manhattan and like do jokes for like 5 minutes a time and spend like $50 for the privilege? I don't know, folks. I just don't see it. But what you do have to look forward to is this. I do this year, just so I can say I did it, and I know I got the material. I just got to form it. I've developed a good relationship with these people here at Hayfields. I love the fact this entire conversation is like an extended conversation with my mother that she would have like tuned out on like 20 million years ago. But so it's a nice like farm, but it's like as a nursery, they sell beautiful flowers and like the farm fresh eggs, and really cute blonde works there. She's married to like a Formula One race car driver, so I don't think he needs to sweat our flirty interactions. But so I love the idea of performing my comedy album there and calling it Live at Hayfields, killersaid@gmail.com. So you will have that to look forward to as well. So my 2 books on audio, Pitch Woman of the Year book. You will also have the live comedy record, Live at Hayfields, killersaid@gmail.com. And the other eventual book, Better Than Booby. Food rants 1 bit at a time. Because I love the idea of making more books because of how excited my kids get. It's a real source of pride for them, and they just like want to share it with everyone. And I remember like showing them like an old stand-up comedy clip and like from back in the day, and like they tuned on immediately. So, but God, I really do want to do jokes in London, and I would like to get some laughs on stage. That would be pretty neat, mate. And I mean, just to do the unhuggable cunt. I mean, the Brits are very fond of the word cunt. And I love the fact that like my mother-in-law like inspired that expression, but I was able to apply it to Hillary. So that makes me happy a long time. So I love everybody that has been a supporter, booster, embracer of the Do It All Dad Year podcast. It's been an amazing run. I hate the fact that I'm leaving you alone in your commutes and you have to listen to other people that aren't nearly as interesting or as engaging or as funny as me, but you'll get past it. I've got 150 episodes you could always re-listen to for old time's sake. And the comedy album and the audiobooks are around the corner. So thanks for giving this Do It All Dad Year confidence in becoming a big deal writer who Americans can be proud of, for really making a stance and for defending the amazing job that our president does for our country for free. And I'm very proud of the work I've done there. I can get petty and be like, oh, well, Trump retweets all the other people and, they have bigger followings, not a shadow ban, whatever. When it's all said and done, I've applied to a lot of jobs, and most have not gotten back to me. And I did get a letter from the president. Now, you could say it's generic, not too personal. It's still a letter from the president. And I know for a fact in my heart of hearts that, he read some of the book, and that's enough. And just to have that moment to share with my kids was really special. So thank you, Mr. President, for making that happen. And keep up the great work. Obviously, this impeachment is going to go nowhere. It's going to be a total bust. And just, can you start arresting some people, please? Can we just can we see that happen like in the next year? That would be nice. So I love Do It All Dad Nation. I've stated before on my other fake news last episode that this Do It All Dad giant is lonely no more, and all of you have really given me so much fulfillment as far as knowing that I've always had this audience to perform for and to share my thoughts with and to make laugh. And I love the giving nature of this podcast, and it's been an amazing journey. And but I made this call out to this woman who works for the Paris Review. They have this like Terry Southern Award for humor, and I'm gonna win it. And if I'm gonna win it, I got to start writing more short stories, and the jokes are just gonna be a too diversionary, and it's not the substance. It's not that meaty substance that I need. I feel like I've like proven myself on the stand-up funny man, right? 2 hours a day, like Jerry Seinfeld front. But one joke on an end note, I did just read that Seinfeld, that the show Seinfeld is now going to be airing on Netflix. I just hope that half those proceeds went to Larry's kids. I love you all, and thanks for listening.